Welcome, everybody, to episode of the Big Ben and Friends podcast. I am your host, Big Ben Ortmanns, and this week I'm going to be doing a bit of a different style podcast for you. I'm going to be answering some questions that I have pretty much put out there on my social media where I said, ask me anything. And I genuinely meant that shit. Whether it be wrestling, whether it be fitness, football, MMA, life, relationship advice, which I'm not very good at, but I mean, this is an entertainment show, so I mean, I guess I could try. But we're going to go through the first round of questions that I was asked. I also have no clue how long this podcast is going to be. This could be a 10-minute episode. This could be an hour and 10 minutes. I don't fucking know. We're going to find out together, folks. But let's start with some questions. First question came from Justin Gilmette. I apologize if I'm saying his last name wrong. Very nice guy. He actually promoted a show out in London that I wrestled for where we raised some charity for a very good cause. His question is, Ben, what advice would you give to an older 40-plus who wants to get into wrestling? No, I am not talking about myself. That's actually a good question. My advice would be just to be realistic and to know what you're good at and to just do that would be my advice, because obviously working the indies and getting to, say the WWE starting out at 40, I'm not saying that it's not possible. I'm just saying that it's a much more difficult road. If you're going to start in your 40s, I would say know exactly what it is that you want to accomplish. If it's wrestling, if it's managing, if it's reffing, if it's ring announcing, if it's being a commentator, if it's even being a promoter, my advice would be figure out what it is that you want to be best at and what you feel would be your most realistic shot of being able to accomplish that, and go for it all the way. And I mean all the way, 100%, because that's the way that you're going to stand out, and that's the way that you're going to get good at anything. Is, if you're going to be great at something, you genuinely have to be fucking crazy and insane when it comes to that one thing. So, but I would also recommend make sure you have fun, because as difficult of a business this is, it's supposed to be fun. So work your ass off, engulf yourself in what it is that you want to do, and have fun. Next question comes from Rob Arbic. And Rob wants to know, if you can acquire one wrestling collectible of any kind, what would it be? Fuck, that's a good question. One wrestling collectible. I think would actually be kind of cool to have Undertaker's last MMA gloves that he wore in his match against AJ Styles. I think that would be very, very cool. That took me a fuck long of time to get answered. What? That took me a real long time to answer, and perhaps I should have had a better answer for that. I don't know, but that would be kind of neat. If we're talking about like just wrestling figures and whatnot, right now, I guess I'm trying to find a figure of everybody who has either taught a seminar or has performed in mine and Notorious TID's ring. I thought that that'd be kind of cool. So I guess that's my answer. All right, my next question comes in from one of my students, Alex Gagne, and he actually has a number of questions. First question, favorite opponent thus far? Tyler Thomas. probably is my favorite opponent. I absolutely love working with him. Notorious TID is obviously one of my favorite opponents. I know those are obvious answers because those are the other two coaches across Body Pro Wrestling Academy, but those two guys genuinely are two of my favorite people to work with.
No shit.
All those guys, like that was my team. And I know that's a bit of an easy answer just because it's almost like saying I'm a Patriots fan and I like Tom Brady and blah blah blah. But that was just who I liked when I was a kid. And sorry, it wasn't Reggie White. Best MMA fighter of the 90s, the 00s, the 10s, and today. Shit. The 90s, I guess it kind of has to be Royce Gracie, right? The 2000s. Shit, now I got to think back. But the 2000s era, I would probably say, again, I could be off on the timeline here, but if it is, my favorite was Bas Rutten for sure. Bas Rutten, Randy Couture, those guys from that era. The 10s, Anderson Silva. That's for me. Today, if you say anything other than Habib Habib, we'll go with Habib. Nurga fucking Gamedov. Nurmagomedov. Fucking got it.
Nope.
Then you're kind of lying to yourself. Because I mean, he's fucking undefeated, right? Like he's the guy. Who's my favorite of right now? I know this is kind of the answer, but I mean, I love Conor McGregor. I love that dude. I love Donald Cerrone. And I also have to give a shout out to some old teammates and some friends of mine. TJ Laramie, who just earned a UFC contract during the UFC Contender Series about a week and a half ago. And I believe I saw that he actually just signed to fight again in September. So that's great. I don't know who his opponent is yet, but congrats, TJ. Jesse Ronson, who just scored a huge win at Fight Island, actually. I can't remember the name of the guy that he fought, but he was brought in a bit of a higher weight class, and you could almost tell that he was being brought in to lose, and he fucking wrecked the guy, and that was awesome. Yeah, so I just want to give some shout outs to those guys because love those guys. What is your all-time favorite go-to meal? Good question. I used to be a barbecue chicken pizza guy, but I don't know. I'm older now. Tastes are a little bit different. My go-to meal is usually just chicken and vegetables, or like a beef or a steak and vegetables. Is, maybe throw in a sweet potato. Those are really my go-to meals, and a protein shake. That's essentially what I eat. If I'm gonna treat myself to like a cheat meal, I love me some chicken pad thai. Chicken pad thai. What do you prefer, sweet or savory snacks? Sweet all day. I'm a sucker for ice cream and cereal. I'm German. I got a sweet tooth. What can I say? His last question: who would play you in a movie about your life? I don't know. I'm going to say Josh Alexander, just because I know it'll piss him off, because he had to be me one time when we were younger, and he had to pretend to be Samoa Mo, and it drove him fucking bonkers. So I'll say Josh Alexander. I don't know if he can act, but Josh Alexander. The next question comes in from Justin Parsons Cody. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Since starting Crossbody, what has been your proudest moment? Not for yourself, but as an owner, trainer, booker. Ooh, good question. I'm going to answer that as an owner and a trainer and as a booker. As an owner, I'm proud. I'm very proud of the students that we've taught, and the students that we've brought along. I'm also very proud of the crew that we've brought in, and just to kind of watch everybody grow. That's been huge as an owner. And also as an owner, it's been very, very big for me personally to help raise money for some charities, which has meant a lot to me. We raised $4,808 for the Special Olympics here in Cambridge in Kitchener and Waterloo. And I'm actually looking at I have these numbers written down on the board. We raised $705.55 for the Kitchener Waterloo Humane Society. We also raised $1,517.79 for Rich Swan when Rich got injured and needed some help for his medical bills and all that stuff. And it was a genuine pleasure and a joy to be able to help out a friend in a time of need. We've also been able to donate almost $300, just shy of $300, to blacklivesmatter.ca, which was a fundraiser that we've done based off some t-shirts that we designed that are on prowrestlingtees.com/crossbodyprowrestling. So things like that have been proud moments for me, just because that was something that it's just nice to help your community, I guess. And yeah. As a trainer, one of my proudest moments as a trainer, I think, would be when Crystal Moon won the Blue Ribbon Championship at the Showcase Series against Pretty Ricky Wilde, and an entire room full of adults, including the locker room, all cried genuine tears out of joy and happiness for that young lady, watching her in what was a very proud moment, and just it was a level up, and everybody felt it, and it was I get teary-eyed thinking about it. That was a really proud moment. As a booker, watching the growth of Holden Albright, I think. Just that's the first thing that pops into the top of my head. I know I've got a lot of proud moments as a booker, which I know might sound kind of self-serving, but there's the growth of Holden Albright would certainly be one of them. And also watching Alexia Nicole grow as well, and essentially become the go-to girl around here, and watch her go from being another girl in Ontario to being the girl in Ontario, as far as I'm concerned. So those are all very proud moments. I have many, but those are the ones that stick out. John Gonzalez, weens or thong under your gear? Fuck you, John. Son of a bitch. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Neither. I am a very. I'm a boxer brief guy. I like my boys snug. So, yeah, I'm not really a thong. I can't do the thong. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, mind you. I'm seriously not. That is not I can't do it. It's not comfortable for me. And honest to God, so are just normal underwear. That's just weird for me. And I wear shorts, so I just try to wear like undershorts, I guess you could say, to go with my other shorts. So, thanks for the question, John. All right, the next question is from my boy Norbert. First of all, thank you for Crossbody, your podcast, and all you do, especially now that I am married. Crossbody is basically the main thing my sister and I bond over, and that means the world. He told me this one time at a show, and I actually had to like walk away because I got emotional when he told me that, because you just never know what kind of reach you have to people and what you're doing and how it affects people. So when you hear things like that, it really puts you into check to just keep doing better and to keep on your game, you know? So thank you for that. He also has a couple of questions. His first question: how do you motivate yourself in general? That's a great question. I struggled for a very long time to find motivation, to just any kind whatsoever. And it wasn't until I lived with a gentleman by the name of, he's an MMA fighter, or was an MMA fighter. I think he's retired now. I don't know for sure, but I still know that he's actually training people out of his basement in Sarnia. His name is Jesse the Ghost Gross. He's one of my best friends. He's my brother. And he was a guy that I lived with for about 3.5 years. And I met him when I was training at the Adrenaline Training Center. Now, I kind of started to build the work ethic that I have once I started training at the Adrenaline Training Center, because those are legitimate world-class athletes. You know, you had Mark Hominick, you had Sam Stout, you have Chris Hordesky, you have Chris Clements. And then walking in there were guys like Chad Lepre, Jesse Ronson. And then we would have guys come down to train at our gym, like Elias Theodoro, Kyle Prepelek, and just all of these different guys who are literally have all fought in the UFC. And you just, when you're surrounded by all of these guys and then the guys below them, and I hate to say below them, but like skill wise below them, like as professionals, and then the amateurs, and then just like the regular Joe Schmoes and stuff like that would come in, like the talent and the work ethic that the top guys would bleed down to everybody else was unbelievable. And it was one of those things where if you didn't learn work ethic right away, you were going to get your ass handed to you on a daily basis. And even if you did have the work ethic, good chance you were going to have your ass handed to you on a daily basis. But if you didn't have the work ethic, the drive, the passion, the whole thing, you weren't going to survive in there. And surviving meant everything to me. And because being there meant everything to me. So just picking it up from there. And then once I ended up living with Jesse is genuinely, I have never met anybody to this day that even comes close to how hard of a worker he is and how dedicated he is to his whatever it is he does. It's unbelievable. When we first moved in together, I had a kickboxing fight coming up and he had an MMA fight coming up, and they were within 2 weeks of one another. So it was the best to have a like-minded person in the house to keep you in check if you were getting a sweet tooth, or if like if you just felt like you were being lazy and you're just like, man, I don't want to go and do that run. My everything hurts. You would just look at Jesse and he would give you this look like he would be disappointed in you if he didn't. And once he was disappointed in you, you were fucked. It was just like this level of acceptance where it's just like, if you're not willing to at least put the fucking effort in to work as hard as I do, then get the fuck away from me, because then I don't want you around me, because now you're going to drag me down. So I had to be a part of that. So that motivates me. And now I'm just motivated to, I find different motivations, but that's kind of become the my base, I guess, if that makes any sense. But my students motivate me. My just life motivates me. The scenario that the professional wrestling business is in, and just the people in it, and like fucking, I don't know, like everything motivates me. Like the fucking garbage people in wrestling motivate me. The incredible people in wrestling motivate me. The people that don't even know, or that I know they exist, motivate me. And all for different reasons. Like, I can look at somebody who just got completely jacked all of a sudden, who's put in so much hard work, and be like, God damn, I'm so motivated by that person. Or I can look at somebody who just lost a shit ton of weight and be like, my God, I am motivated by the person. Or I'll look at somebody like Danhausen, for example, and I'll look at the content that he's putting out. And like, for example, like I saw that he's got like some cool jacket deal or some shit. And it's just like, my God, look at what the fuck he's doing. This is all possible. So for you to fucking tell yourself that you can't do that shit is on you and nobody else. So that's the shit that motivates me, is because I'm watching people that I know do great things. So if they can do it, so the fuck can I. It's just a matter of how bad do I want it, you know? So my friends motivate me. Bad people motivate me. Good people motivate me. Life motivates me, man. Got to be ready for it all. What do you miss most about Crossbody during this pandemic? I miss my friends and my family, and I miss the fans. I miss people. I miss there's literally nothing that I don't miss. I miss sitting behind that desk. I miss pushing buttons. I miss hitting the lights. I miss telling stories. I miss wrestling. I miss getting a crew together and and explaining the vision that I have, and watching our roster and our crew kind of throw their own little spice into it and make this incredible blend. It's just, I love this shit. You know what I mean? And I hate that we haven't had it. And I miss everything. But most importantly, I miss the crew, and I miss everybody that came to the shows and gave us their all, you know. And I can't wait to see all you guys again, honestly. Which have been your favorite storylines in Crossbody, and what's your favorite Crossbody moment? Good question. Favorite storyline? I've got a few. I love the storyline of Alexia Nicole. She's literally been she's the first champion, the first women's champion, and the only women's champion. And she's now held that title. I mean, COVID certainly helped, but I mean, she's now held that title for over a year. I believe she won the belt on June the 1st of last year. So she's going in on 14 months of being the champion, and nobody has knocked her off. I think that shit's very cool. Whoever eventually knocks her off, I think that's going to be a special moment. But question is, can anybody? Because Alexia is, like I said, she's the girl now, man. So it'll be fascinating to watch. And I got to tell you, I think my favorite storyline would probably be the one that we've been doing with Albright and Fuerza, because it's not until you look back that you realize how long we've actually been doing it for. And that's the beauty of it, is I don't even think people realize how long we've been doing that storyline for. So, and who knows how long it's going to go for. I don't know. And my favorite crossbody moment has to be at the end of Family Day Feud 4, when at the end of Albright versus Speedball Mike Bailey, the crowd circled the ring and started smacking the canvas out of appreciation for the hard work of those two guys. And perhaps I'm also reading maybe a little bit more into this, but I think I'm also right on this. But I think it was a thank you for the night, because it's not very often that I will say that was a perfect show. And with the exception of one thing, maybe it wasn't perfect. There was only one thing that went wrong, and it was a production thing. And it was, and it didn't, and I'll take the blame for it, but the breaker and the fuse went out. And I have to give Ryan Kovarik a huge I owe him a huge debt of gratitude, because he got everything back. It wasn't as, the entrance that the fuse blew out on was Danhausen's. Just, it was what it was. I had this amazing thing set up for him. It still ended up being pretty cool, but if that entrance would have went off the way that I wanted it to, the show itself would have been perfect. And that's how much of a nitpicky person I am. But that was, as from top to bottom, or from the first match to the end, it was perfect. And I genuinely, if you haven't watched it, go to independentwrestlingtv.com, or sorry, independentwrestling.tv rather, and go watch that show, because that was special. Aside from Crossbody, which other promotions, sorry, that was a misspell, which other promotions might you recommend on IWTV? That is also a great question. I'm going to recommend Alpha One, because they've got a very good product. Ethan Page is a very hardworking guy, and I know that he works his ass off. I don't even know if their stuff is on Independent Wrestling TV anymore. I know that he got them onto Impact Plus. So, but that was the first one that sticks out. Beyond Wrestling has been doing some really cool stuff. GCW obviously has been doing some very cool things. Who else? I'm sorry, that's just I know that there's a few other. Oh, C4 for sure. Support those guys. Amazing company. Mark is such a nice guy. I've still to this day never met him. I've spoken to him so many times, though. He's awesome. So that's going to be my answer, is Alpha One and C4. So, and the other American companies, and essentially any company that our guys are on is what I want you to go and check out. Go check anything out with like the Michigan guys, like the champs with Shogun and Blake 182. Go watch all the stuff with my boy Nolan Edwards. Go check out anything with Billy Ray Daniels and Matt Hagen and fucking Chinstrap Jesus, and go check out any shit with the Buffalo Boys, like with Daniel Garcia and Eric Kubaic, and I haven't even seen him wrestle yet, but is Sebastian. I can't remember his last name, but a big fucking guy. He came down with Daniel in January, thankfully, and was able to push him out of some snow. There's a lot of guys. I know I'm forgetting some names, but I just anybody that's any American guy I want to stress that has come and check out and worked one of our Showcase Series shows, go follow them, look them up, because they're on so much IWTV content. It's silly. And again, if if I had to say go pick a couple of guys, Shogun, Blake, Nolan are the three that stick out to me in those guys, and that's nothing against anybody else that I just mentioned. Jason Walsh, first crossbody is amazing, and thanks for bringing it to us. Thank you. You're very welcome. What would be your dream match, and who would it be with? Easy. I've said this a million times. My dream match is against Showtime Eric Young. And it would be, sorry. Yeah, it would be Showtime Eric Young. He's been my dream match since I started wrestling. And at one point in time, I thought I was going to get it back in the day, but I also knew that I wasn't ready for it. Now, I've never been more fucking ready. And I know that Eric Young is one of the best wrestlers in the world. And I've put my time in, man. And I know that I know I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go, and not just ready to go with him. Like, I'm ready to give him a fucking fight. And if anything, he's going to need to, I'm saying it. He's going to need to fucking keep up with me too. What are you going to do about it? Fucking fight me? Do it. Dare you. I'm trying. So fucking do it. Go back to, I've got some more questions. I just got to find them. Here we go. All right. Next question is from my boy Chops, James Weber. He's also got a couple questions. First, what made you decide to open a wrestling school? I've gone over this a bunch of times, but it's just kind of something that was always in the back of my head. But the school actually got offered to me. That was through some MMA connections. So I was working at Adrenaline Training Center, and I got to know quite a few different people in the mixed martial arts business. Long story short, once I decided to get back into pro wrestling, one of the gentlemen who owned a clothing company asked if he wanted to sponsor me. I was on board. He was in the town in Kitchener where I was wrestling that weekend. He came and watched, loved what I did, asked me if I wanted to train guys out of his MMA gym and teach pro wrestling. The rest is kind of history. It's kind of snowballed from there. And I knew right away that I needed to have a partner. So I went right away and asked Notorious TID because I knew that he was the guy, and literally went up to him and I said, hey, if you had the option to open up a wrestling school, would you be interested? And he's just like, it depends, maybe. And I'm like, well, here's the situation. You want to own half of a wrestling school? And he's just like, all right. And then me and him went and chatted, and we basically said what we wanted and what we didn't want. And there was literally nothing that was different on the wants and the don't wants list. It was literally the exact same. And yeah, it's been amazing. It's been an amazing 6+ years. And since we've opened the gym, and I hope that we get to have at least another 6+ more. You know, I love that place. Next question. Was there always an idea to put on shows when you first opened? That is a very good question, because the answer to that is no. I mean, maybe it was an idea, but it was certainly never discussed. I know that maybe it was something that I know that I had in the back of my head that maybe one day I would potentially get into it, but I also wasn't sure how that was going to work because, you know, I didn't know if that was something that Tid was interested in, honestly. And if he was, I thinking about it got me scared because I know that that's when, like, having too many hands in a creative pie when it comes to pro wrestling sometimes can lead to a lot of fights, a lot of stress, and it could end friendships, and it could do a lot of bad. So it always just seemed like it wasn't a good idea to me. And then one day we were just sitting in his basement and we were watching some fights or something, I think, having a few drinks. And he brought up the idea. He's like, have you ever thought about running shows? And I think he even asked me like that, if I remember correctly. And I was just like, I've thought about it. I'm just like, but what about you? And he's just like, I think it'd be a cool idea if you did. And I'm like, well, what would you want to do? He's like, nothing. I don't want to fucking do anything. I'll wrestle on him, but I want nothing to do with him. And then once he said that, I was just like, I actually like was like, so you'll let me do this by myself? Like, are you cool? Like, because I kind of want to, but like I would want to, do it correctly. And he just said, yeah. And he allowed me to do so. And 3.5 years later, I mean, here we are. And we've done nothing but grow. And it's been awesome. So it was certainly not on the realistic idea, but it only became an idea probably about like 3 years in, like an actual idea that was put out there and into the universe, I guess, so to speak. So what is more important, a wrestler's character, their microphone skills, or in-ring skills? I think it depends. I think it completely depends. What are you best at? I think it's important to have a base, obviously. I think it's important to be good at your basics as far as your fundamentals as far as pro wrestling is concerned, because I don't care if you're just a character. If you have to have your fundamentals down to a fucking T, or else you're going to hurt somebody, because you can just be a character. And as long as you know your fundamentals, it doesn't matter who you work with. They can lead you through a match, because you can bump, you can listen, you can react, you can do all those things. So it depends, it depends on what you're good at. And I've been saying this to a few different people lately, but there was a tweet that I saw Danhausen put out not too long ago where he said the best advice that he was ever given was from William Regal, who told him to figure out what it is that you're good at and do that and be the best at it. And, you're not going to find anybody that's going to out like Danhausen. So, I mean, he found what he was good at, and he is the fucking best at it. Like nobody's going to out Warhorse. I use those two guys as examples just because they've clearly set themselves apart, and they've shown that characters can still be a thing in independent wrestling and in wrestling in general. So, then you've got guys like MJF, for example. He's a goddamn, like he is the best he's the best guy on the microphone in entertainment right now. Like not just sports entertainment, in entertainment, he's great. And if he just needed to do that and get by on fundamentals, I mean, he can do that. He's doing it, and it's awesome. And if I remember correctly, I think he's main eventing the next AEW big show. I don't even know if it's like a pay-per-view or if it's on like TV or whatever, but he's got a world title match, and he's doing some really great things. And then the other question was, or the in-ring skills, you could be one of those guys too. I don't think guys like Alex Shelley are known for their promos or are known for their characters. So everybody, there's a place for everybody, as long as you are good at what it is that you do. So as far as what's most important, I don't think that there's an answer to that other than whatever it is that you're going to do, just have your fundamentals down and just make sure that those are solid and that you're, yeah, you know what? That's what I'm going to stick with. Fundamentals and whatever else. And thank you very much for your question, Chops. Next question is from Matt Grant. My boy, Matt Grant, and his big ass dong. And if you don't get that joke, you don't watch his live streams. And you should, God damn it, because him and his brother are doing some really fun and creative stuff. And they play Raw versus SmackDown. It's sort of the same shit that Xavier Woods and Tyler Breeze do, except they don't lose their games. So that's fun. Matt Grant wants to know, how did you go about finding and developing the core roster you wanted for the beginning of Crossbody? And he also has a follow-up question. How much has that thought process changed over the years? That is a great question. So the original thought process was, once I started doing the shows, was obviously to build something for the students. The problem was is that once the shows became ready, we didn't have the number of students to fill the show spots, if that makes any sense. So then it became, how do I blend my friends in with my students, and how can I get my friends to further their characters and get better, while at the same time helping our students and helping them develop. And then once, I would say that it took probably about a good year and a half to 2 years until it really found my my recipe for what I'm looking for in my core group, if that makes any sense. And if I'm being completely honest with you, what I'm looking for and how that thought process has changed, because, I've gone from wanting to, again, going from the students and like getting them to develop and trying to find a spot for my friends, to like, how do we build something special for everybody? Like, how do we make this place special? It was really what it kind of what my thought process became, because it, if it's just going to be one of those, students and friends thing, then it's very clear that it's a students and friends show. So then it became, who do I need around me that's like, because I'm a very, very passionate person, and I need to surround myself with other passionate people, or else I find that my passion gets drained, and I don't want that shit. I like to love what I do. I like to enjoy what I do. So what became most important for me in regards to finding my crew was, are you good for business? Do you have potential? Are you coachable? Are you a good person? Essentially, that kind of became like the checklist of like what I'm looking for, and like, for example, like I know that I saw some asshole leave a comment on Matt Grant's Facebook the other day. While he had a picture of his titles, and he was just like, oh, you look like a referee. You don't look like you should be a champion based off of your look and your size and all that stuff. And I hate that shit, because like, I understand it. Like, I get it, because I came from that old school, and I grew up in that era. I was taught that era. I understand that thought process. It was drilled into me. But I've also grown up. The business has evolved. The world has evolved. Like, when you hear people say like, that guy doesn't necessarily need, I don't like looking at him because he doesn't look like he could kick my ass or whatever. Okay, well, then why the fuck is he more entertaining than you? Like, why is if everybody's bitching about him having that spot, why don't you have that spot? Huh? You ever honestly, you ever thought to ask yourself that question? Like, maybe, I don't know, show up. Maybe do the fucking work. Like, that's, people don't fucking get how much Matt Grant does for this fucking business, especially around here. Like, he fucking works his ass off. And you know what? He's in the gym right now. And you know what? That shit takes time. So give him a fucking break. He's trying. You know what I mean? And to knock him for being a champion, and for people, for companies giving him belts, myself included, fuck yourself. How's that sound? Because when he won those titles, do you know what that crowd did? Lost their fucking minds. Isn't that the fucking business we're in? So that's all I got to say about that. Love you, Matt Grant. My next question is from former Ontario independent referee Matt Young. He also has a couple questions. What happened to superstar Sean Morgan, and why can't I buy his shirt? Well, superstar Sean Morgan is no longer a thing because I was never a superstar, oddly enough. Why isn't and why can't I buy his shirt? Well, why would you want to? What the fuck is wrong with you? This is literally the first time I've ever been asked that. So that's why you can't buy a shirt, because the supply and demand has been so shit that we've had to wait until this fucking year of 2020 to wait for an old ass referee to come out of the fucking woodwork to come and ask me if I've got a superstar Sean Morgan shirt. But I'll tell you what, say the word and I'll get Aiden Prince to design me one and I'll throw that bitch up on Pro Wrestling Tees. But if you don't buy it, I'll be fucking pissed because you're the only one who's gonna. And to be honest with you, I God damn, when I first started, that was such a mess. Who fucking let me call myself superstar Sean Morgan? Like, looking back at that, like if one of my students asked me if they could call themselves superstar fucking anything, I would slap the shit out of them, because what a dumb fucking idea to set that precedent out the gate. Like, God, what a horrible idea. Horrible idea. I'm so glad that you know what? I don't even know who talked me out of it, but I'm glad that they did. He also wants to know, if you could do anything over in your career to change the course, what would it be? I would have trained with Eric Young. That's the easiest answer I could have possibly come up with. I would have gotten trained by Eric Young. Can talent truly get over without good booking? Yeah, because talent gets over on them their own merit, whether it be their character, whether it be their work ethic, whether it be what they do in the ring. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't even think I've ever fucking won a match. And I'm not saying that I'm over, but I'm just saying that, like, you can get over without winning. Like, I remember when I was talking to, I use him as an example. I apologize for bringing him up so many times, but fucking Danhausen. When he wrestled Psycho Mike and drawing the curtain back here, when he was told that he was going to win, it blew his fucking mind because he doesn't win matches. But guess who's the most over guy on the show? Danhausen. So do you need good booking to get over? Absolutely not. Go get over on your own fucking merit. There is social media. There is YouTube. The world is your oyster. Like, if you can't figure it out, then that's on you. Thank you for the questions, Matt. Next question is from another one of my students, Will. What made you want to become a wrestler? Short and simple, I wanted to be Hulk Hogan, man. And that's the honest to God question, to the point where when my trainers asked me what I wanted to be and what character I wanted to be, it wasn't until then. Now, keep in mind, I was probably like 17 years old at this point. Okay? At that point, I fucking realized I wasn't allowed to be Hulk Hogan. That fucking guy was taken. So, goes to show you how dumb I am.
You are stupid.
But yeah, Hulk Hogan, man. I wanted to be Hulk Hogan. And then once I realized that job was taken, I don't know. It's just been a whirlwind trying to figure the rest out, you know? But I love it. Next question comes from JJ Confalone, a.k.a. Flex the Man Whore Falcone. I swallowed an ice cube whole, and I have not pooped it out yet. I'm scared. Is it stuck? I think you'll be okay. Not a doctor. I think you'll be okay. Especially because you asked me that 3 days ago. So if I'm wrong, and like, if I'm wrong, I apologize. Is it legal to murder an ant? Well, I guess it all depends on how you spell that. Is it legal to murder like an ant, A-N-T? I don't think so. But if it was like your aunt, A-U-N-T, yeah, that shit's super illegal. Can I safely look at a picture of the sun? Yes. You should try it. Yes. Go do that. Is there a spell to become a merman that actually works? Not one that I've accomplished successfully. I've tried. I've tried a few. Unsuccessful this far. So if I find one, I will be happy to report to you. But as of this moment, any spell that I have attempted to become a merman has been quite unsuccessful, and I do apologize. How do I test to see the sexual preference of my turtle? I don't know. Put it in front of a male turtle and a female turtle and see which one it wants to fuck. Seems like it would be. I'm not a turtle scientist or any of that shit, but it seems like that's probably the best way. Best of luck. Will humans ever be able to walk on the sun? No. If I were to eat myself, would I become twice as big or completely disappear?
You are stupid.
I think you would be stupid if you tried to eat yourself. Fuck you doing, man? Eat some chicken or steak or something. Fucking weirdo. The next question is from another one of our students, Sarah. When you were younger, say 15, what were your main goals in life? Where did you want to see yourself? How have those life goals changed? And what are your main objectives and goals now moving forward, including wrestling and family, etc.? When I was 15, the only thing that I wanted to do was wrestle for a living. That was it. I remember even saying to myself, and this is just real. This is just me being honest. I remember telling myself when I was younger that if I did not become a professional athlete and signed at the WWE by like a certain age, that I was going to like kill myself. That was a real thought process I had when I was younger. I mean, obviously, thankfully I didn't go through with that, but like that was genuinely the only thing that I wanted to do. And I didn't see myself doing anything else. And I thought that anything else would have been a legitimate failure to my life. Where I wanted to see myself was in the main event of WrestleMania. You know, I wanted to see myself on Raw every week. I wanted to see myself on SmackDown every week. I wanted to see myself as a WWE guy. That was my life goal. I didn't have any aspirations of family. I mean, I always wanted to meet a girl and, you know, hopefully, you know, get married, have the house and, you know, have a son or a daughter or whatever. But that was like way down the fucking list of everything. And how that's changed from when I was 15 to where I'm at now, huge. Because the WWE is the furthest thing from where I want to be. And it's from what I want, honestly. I've learned to love the art and not the logo. And once I was able to separate those two, it genuinely changed my life. And it allowed me to live a lot less of a stressful, a lot more of a stress-free life, if that makes any sense. Because now I'm not confined by this like one thing. You know, I tell this to people, and I genuinely mean this every time I say this, that I'm that guy that you were taught to hate in pro wrestling, because that guy that is happy to stay in his little bubble, in his little city, and not have to travel too far, you're supposed to not want to be that guy, and you're supposed to hate that guy. I am so happy to be that guy doing what I do, not as a wrestler, doing what I do as a coach and as a promoter and as a booker and as a producer, and being able to help these young people try to realize their dreams and steer them away from all the mistakes that I made, because they say, if don't, how are you supposed to teach somebody to be successful if you haven't been successful yourself? It took me a long time to get that success, but I eventually got the success that I wanted. But I've also, and I'm being honest, like I achieved the goal that I set out for myself, and I surpassed it. I didn't get the main event WrestleMania. That's where I saw myself. But realistically, I wanted to just have a wrestling match, and I wanted to be a wrestler. If I ever got to do anything for the WWE, I would have been set, because I knew from the beginning, like, of my career, with the amount of people that were telling me no and the ceiling that was put on me, it was ingrained in me that I would never have a fucking shot at the WWE. Never. I would never have a fucking shot to do anything other than bullshit indies. It was ingrained in me. And it wasn't until I stopped listening to those fucking people that I became successful and that I did the things that I wanted to do. And I've got WWE paycheck stubs now. Stubs. I didn't get the job there. I didn't get a contract there. But people were telling me that I would never fucking make it there. And then it became my goal to prove those fucking assholes wrong. And I did. And that's now my mindset. My mindset is to just enjoy what I'm doing and love what I do and work harder than anybody else to fucking do it. Like, you have to be passionate about what you do, and you have to love what you do. And as far as the family thing goes, it's kind of a crazy question. Like, it's I'm not really close with my family. Like, I'm close with my brother, to a degree. And he's the closest member of my family that I got. And, like, I've got my nephew and my dad, and that's kind of like my family, as far as like bloodline goes, but like Tid and Brady and Tyler and, like Brendan and, the students, like that's my family, and that's legitimately my family, and so it's hard to say that like the only thing that I just want is I want what's best for my family. That's really it. It's gone from wanting what's best for me to wanting what's best for the people in my life. So that's easily the biggest change. So DWK, my buddy Daryl, wants to know, have you ever been in a 1989 Ford Escort in a blizzard without washer fluid? I don't think so. Unless I drove with you one time and you had an 89 Ford Escort and we drove in a blizzard and you didn't have any fucking windshield washer fluid. But I've been dropped on my head a few times, Daryl. My memory's not that good. Whew. I mean, I appreciate the question, but goddamn, I'm gonna have to try that one again. All right, so we got a few more questions left here. Let me just get to those. This one is from Joe Halem. Joe Dog Halem. Love that dude. Is there a move that you feel gets overused, and what is it? I mean, right now the Canadian Destroyer is probably overused, and it probably has been for a while. Canadian Destroyer. Next question comes in from another one of our students, Ryan, who is also a very, very welcomed part of our production team over at Crossbody Pro Wrestling. And he wants to know, where can we watch your kickboxing fights? I've only got one fight that's on YouTube, and I will put that down in the link below. And it was against a gentleman named Nicholas, if I remember correctly. And it was at a smoker at the Adrenaline Training Center back in the day. And I loved that fight. So go and check it out if you want. My boy Stacy from the motherfucking Hawkeyes, who I wore his shirt on the Gabriel Fuerza podcast. And if you guys are interested in checking out a new band, I believe they kind of refer to their music as like alien space rock. It's different, but I enjoy it. Go check their stuff out. Their stuff is on Spotify, so you can check their stuff out. Stacy wants to know, which wrestling match in history do you wish that you were a part of? Whoa. Good question. Main event of WrestleMania, I think. With any, like, I mean, yeah. My dream match would be to wrestle Brock Lesnar in the main event of WrestleMania. That's not a match that in history that happened. And I don't know if that's the question that you were going for, but if there was a wrestling match in history, which wrestling match in history do you wish that you could, or that you were a part of? Yeah, I think that's a good answer for that. Yeah. If not, I apologize. Ask me again, and I'll do another podcast like this, and I'll get better at answering questions. You know. And the very last question is from Matt Howell, and Matt wants to know, what are you hoping to see Crossbody evolve into over the next couple of years? Which I know is a sort of similar to a question that was asked, where do I see Crossbody in 5 years? What am I hoping to see Crossbody evolve into over the next couple of years? I'm hoping to see it evolve into, I don't want to give that answer where I say I want to see it evolve into the best company in Canada, because that's not what I'm trying to be. If it happens, that's great. But I'm just trying to be the best Crossbody Pro Wrestling that Crossbody Pro Wrestling can be, if that makes any sense. But if I could, where I'm hoping to see it evolve is I'm hoping to see production be a little bit better. I've got some ideas in mind that I certainly would love to implement one day as far as improving the production. That stuff I'm going to keep to myself for now, just because if I can make it happen, then I don't want to give away the surprise, but production, I would like to see, I would love to see some more of our students get ready to be able to contribute, that's the word I'm looking for, contribute in a way that that somebody like Holden Albright has, for example. That's stuff like that. And I want to see Crossbody continue to evolve into a place that young wrestlers want to come to learn how to get better a little bit quicker, and perhaps fast track their ability to eventually get better at what their goals are. And if you can't read between the lines there, that's on you. But yeah, I want to continue to see it grow. I want to see the individuals grow. I want to see the production grow. I want to see the staff grow, as performers and as people. And if that happens, that's great. And I'd love to see the audience grow. I'd love to see our numbers grow. I'd love to be able to get to a point sometime where the numbers are so good that, if I'm being honest, this is the goal for me, is I'd love to be able to run the gym and run CBPW full time, and that be my job. That's the goal. And I don't know if we'll ever get there. You know, it'd be great if we could, but the world's in a weird spot right now. And all we can do is just prepare and prepare and prepare and prepare and be the best version of ourselves in case one day they say, tomorrow we're ready to go, guys. Because if they say that, you know, there's going to be a lot of people, I can already tell, that are going to be left in the dust because they have failed to prepare. So in a sense, they have prepared to fail. And I don't want to see that. I just want to see everybody. I want to see everybody succeed. And I just want to grow. I just want to grow, succeed, and just keep being a part of the pro wrestling business, and keep loving the pro wrestling business, essentially. If I can do that in however long, I'll be happy. Because if I ever get to a point where I don't love wrestling the way that I do right now, which is literally like more and more every day, then I don't know really what I got to live for. You know, like, that'll be a life wasted at that point, because trying to find a new hobby at this age is going to be real shit, you know. But I love this business. I love this. I miss it. I miss you guys. But I can't thank you enough for tuning in and supporting this new venture that I'm doing here while we get back, and we wait to get back. And of course, I'm going to continue to do this while we're back, but podcasting is becoming something that I'm really enjoying. You know, talking was something that I never thought that I was good at, and I still don't think I'm good at, but I'm trying. And, you know, you can't get better at something unless you do it. You know, I'm trying to practice what I preach here. So thank you to everybody who sent me in questions. Thanks to everybody who's watching. Thanks to everybody who listened to the end. Thanks to everybody who has hit that subscribe button. If you can, and you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave a comment. Go follow me on social media. Go follow the show. The show is Big Ben AF Podcast everywhere, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, even on YouTube, youtube.com/Big Ben AF Podcast. You can go and follow me personally. Big Ben is Angry on my Instagram, Twitter. I always say there's no point in following me on Facebook, because I'm trying to avoid Facebook as much as I can, you know. And if you want to support Crossbody Pro Wrestling, please do. YouTube.com/Crossbody Pro Wrestling Academy. There's amazing shows on there. The Showcase Series shows that I've talked about during this Q&A. There's some incredible matches from the first 2.5 years that all of them that are up there. And I've also just dropped some free matches in the last few weeks. I dropped an intergender match with Alexia Nicole and Kobe Durst. I also dropped that match that I've been discussing, you know, Danhausen versus Psycho Mike. That's all there for free on YouTube. Go check it out. Treat yourself. I promise you, you'll love it. Other than that, there's ProWrestlingTees.com/Crossbody Pro Wrestling. 100% of the proceeds of those shirts get split up between the wrestler and the production staff and the designer of the shirts. Take nothing. Just trying to help my crew out. Other than that, thanks, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully we'll get another podcast recorded here soon. Hopefully you enjoyed this. And if you did, I'll do another one, you know? But again, thanks again for everything. And I'm actually going to wrap it up this time. So see ya.
Shut the fuck up!